Okay, let's get into it. On the left, Macchi. On the right, Foconi. In the last bout, I watched Macchi defeat Chung in a rematch of the Olympic final, where he relied predominantly on counter time. A very excellent bout. Okay, they're in a little bit of a parry war here. Very close distance. That's, yeah, quite characteristic of Italian fencing, in my opinion. I think it's difficult to kind of say what each country fences like. Everybody's fencing differently, but the Italians really seem to like to try to get into that close distance, and you can see that that's what's happening right here. Whether it be because they're Italians or just because they're Macchi and Foconi, that's the reality of it. They're getting in close. Here we go. Pressure from Foconi. Pressure from Foconi. Line to make Foconi deal with it from Macchi. Now pressure from Macchi. Line from Foconi to make Macchi deal with it. Interesting. Yeah, that was ballsy, Foconi. Macchi had hit his line a bunch of times, and then Foconi decided that he's just going to try anyway. Maybe he disengaged a search, and in some interpretations of right of way, if you search and you don't get the blade, you immediately lose right of way. But that's an interpretation that is not as common these days. So Foconi kind of relied on an interpretation that would have been nice for him. This time, he didn't take any such risk, and he made a big compound attack, holding his blade all the way back, rushing in, drawing out the counterattack, and then finishing successfully. Neither one seems to want to attack. Yeah, I mean, look, Foconi, if he's going to give you your touch, then he's got to give Macchi that one. It was kind of the same thing. Pulls the blade way back, but he finished in prime. So technically, the technique was different, but the concept was the same. Rush with the hand way back, and then finish as your opponent does a counterattack. Okay, did a bit of a prise affair, double coupe, kind of tried to hit in the 6 line, ended up getting Foconi on the shoulder. Maybe he was trying to flick to the shoulder, go down to the flank, but didn't make it. Foconi pushing, kind of looking for a counter time there, kind of looking to finish short. He likes that second intention. Foconi likes to do a short little attack, which basically if his opponent then counterattacks, then Foconi's tip lands because it's short and sweet. But if the opponent parries, then Foconi is still balanced enough and not committed so badly so that he can still do a counter parry repost. Here, he pushed, finished short and sweet, and hit right on the first intention. I think Macchi kind of was guessing a little bit that Foconi would do another big attack with the arm pulled back and that a counter attack would work. But it wasn't the case. Foconi's little short and sweet attack did the trick. Macchi's looking for the distance. Yeah, see, he's looking for the distance where he can then hit with like a long lunge. He's taller than Foconi, and he's uncomfortable with Foconi getting super close like that. This time, he did do kind of a bigger, more committed attack, but he chose the right target, got the tip into the belly, and Macchi's counterattack, which was not really a terrible decision. It really was not a bad decision, considering Foconi was doing a big, strong, fast attack. It didn't work though. This time, honestly, I was so busy talking I didn't really catch it, but it seemed like Foconi did the counterattack. Okay, nice. That's good, Macchi. That's what you got to be doing. Very beautiful counter time. There it is. Macchi, he loves his counter time, and he is good at it. It's pretty amazing. I think that's what Macchi's got to do. Macchi's got to get Foconi to be going back. He needs Foconi to go back. Foconi has good counterattacks, but counter time is a great solution to counterattacks, and Macchi, at the moment, I don't know anybody better than him at it. Beautiful, beautiful infighting. Gorozzo was very good with the counter time, but he's retired. Incidentally, Gorozzo was also an absolute god at infighting, and Macchi has just gotten this infighting touch, and in the bout with Chung, he got, I think the only infighting touch that there was in that entire bout. I don't know what Foconi is doing sometimes with that. Like it's like he's doing an action and then he's just hoping that the referee is gonna interpret the right of way the way that would be most beneficial to Foconi. Like there, he was hoping that the ref would give him an attack and prep. Attack and prep is very rarely called these days. Just like before, he was hoping that the ref would call a search ending Macchi's right of way. So it's very risky kind of fencing. You need to do actions that are going to that are clear for the referee. I know that sounds like some beginner advice, but it's not. I mean, it's really what these guys need to be doing. Macchi's actions are very clear. This is a very clear attack, and he went for the touch. It's actually not entirely always true. In Chung's bout, he was doing a lot of unclear kind of attacks, which were basically simultaneous, but which he managed to make look like his, or maybe they were his, but he really kind of was flirting with simultaneous in his bout with Chung, but he got them. He was given them every single time. I have to assume that if he wasn't given them, he would have changed. This is quite a direct attack by Macchi, and when Foconi didn't go back with his parry, they ended up very, very close. And Foconi managed to get the infighting touch. So in the infighting, that's 1-for-1 right now. Foconi is also excellent in the infighting. I mean, obviously, they all are. They're all amazing. Okay, nice. Foconi got in deep with the flick. I mean, poor Macchi, that hurts. But look where he's patting himself. Look where he's rubbing out the pain. That's right. That's right where it's supposed to be. That's right where the flick's supposed to land. And Foconi, being the shorter guy, getting that flick on his back like that, that's pretty impressive. He just didn't get a light on. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That's what I'm talking about with the second attention. That he does these conservative, shorter attacks. If he gets parried, he's there. He's ready to get that counter parry 6 flick. I mean, that's one of his favorite counter parries is the 6 flick. I just watched about where he did it against Cruz. Again, counter time by Macchi, where he did it against Cruz in 2018 in Wuxi, where he became world champion. So he's really doing it all the time. But he's very versatile. He can hit any target. So yeah, so Foconi, his favorite action seems to be, I mean, in this bout at least, it's these short little attack, and then if it doesn't work, counter parry repost. And Macchi, he's just loving the counter time. He's pushing. Foconi's going to do his little attack any moment, or I mean, he does vary it. There you go. This time Macchi was looking for the counter time. Foconi basically gave it to him by doing a small little counter attack. And then he tried to get the counter parry post off of Macchi's counter time. Here we go, pushing. Foconi can vary it with a quick, big attack that brings the tip in the last moment. Michael Marks, a great coach out in Boston, calls it attack the spot, which I like. I've always liked that since he taught that to me, that term. That was a great attack by Macchi. I thought Foconi reacted. I gotta say that to me it just looked like attack from Macchi. Foconi, he just went back and then started after Macchi was already coming forward. Honestly, I kind of think it was a counter parry for Foconi. He looked so disappointed there. Looking disappointed is not a good look in a right-of-way weapon. You gotta look confident. But to me, it kind of... Okay. Referee says it's Macchi's. The blades were a bit messy. Good job, Macchi. But Foconi was definitely trying to get that counter parry. They both kind of were. So they're in this little blade battle with each other. I think it's a good action. I think they're both good actions. Again, the counter time. Counter time is a very tough action because if he disengages it, Macchi surely is able to finish. I don't know, is that true? He's not really doing that though. He's not really finishing it. Kind of think Foconi needs to defend. No, I don't think that's the way. He tried to remise basically. But Macchi's not really starting very big after he gets the parry. I think Foconi should try defending and maybe doing a feint disengage in time, so basically a compound counterattack. I don't know, that sounds risky. In a way, I mean, of course he's very smart. He's probably much smarter than I am. Because he's simply attacking a lot, which is taking away Macchi's ability to do the counter time. So that's smart. So he is imposing his game on Macchi by doing the second intention, the short attacks and then the counter parry repost, or in this case, short attack and then remise, which is a kind of second intention. That was smart. That was cool. He got Macchi. So he stayed in a really close distance, and then when Macchi accelerated with his arm back, Foconi was right there to do the counterattack, but Macchi's parry was just too quick. But they were then so close that getting a riposte in was impossible. And then again, you know, this is just my personal preference, I guess. I think these kinds of touches are really up in the air. They can really go either way. They almost always go to video, and then the reasoning why they gave it one way or the other is not as clear as I think it should be. They gave it simultaneous. I'm always a fan when they give these actions simultaneous. I just don't think fencers are really trying to set up that kind of action a lot of the time. I don't think it's the right way. This was a beautiful touch by Macchi. Foconi was so expecting Macchi to again go for the counter time, to again spend all day whacking the blade around, that when Macchi just did a simple attack, he wasn't ready for it and he got hit. Very smart. So obviously, what is Foconi going to do? If Macchi does direct attack, Foconi's going to do parry repost. So what does Macchi do? He pulls his blade back, he does a compound action, and then Foconi does a counterattack instead of the parry. So he's just a step ahead. It's very smart. Beautiful. Macchi's got these beautiful kind of long, straight, direct attacks. They're not super straight because he's doing them with coupes, but they're pretty direct. They're pretty direct attacks. And he does score with them. It's not always the highest scoring action, but it's very important to do it because, number one, he scores with them, and number two, it forces your opponent to deal with it. It makes your opponent worry about counterattacking. Yep. Smart. That was good. He's just good at finishing that attack. Foconi's counterattack was not bad, but Macchi managed to get in so close, so slow, without accelerating, that when Foconi did his counterattack, Macchi was still able to get his tip in. In, quite frankly, an amazing display of technique. It's not easy to do that. It's high risk. Foconi is not an idiot for having tried that counterattack. It was... it's absolutely reasonable to try that counterattack in that moment. Macchi's tip was way in another universe. He was coming slow, but he was crazy close. Foconi accelerated into it. It's a good try, but Macchi just out-techniqued him in that moment. His technique was just good enough to get the tip in. Oh, beautiful. Nice. There you go. That was good. See, his first counterattack that he attempted was a stop hit. That made Macchi kind of hesitate and go back. And then when Foconi did his next counterattack, he stepped in. So his first counterattack was step out, and his second counterattack was step in. And that tricked Macchi, and he got him. Very smart. Now Macchi's going out, and he did it. Damn, that time Macchi did the opposite. He showed he was going out. And then what did he do? He went out. He did a stop hit. So he I'm just gonna try to say that again in a different way. So so the stop hit is where you kind of lean in with your arm maximally extended and you maximize your reach absolutely to just barely hit without even bending the blade, and then you run back. And he showed that he was gonna do it, and then Foconi probably thought he's gonna go in next time, and so he kind of rushed in to sort of try to finish in a close distance, and then Macchi actually did it a third time, the same action where he had the stop hit. Yeah, this is kind of a together, but only Foconi's light went on. It's okay. It's okay, but it's kind of a lucky touch, you know. Oh, that was great. That was great. I think that worked. It's the same attack that he always, or not always does, but that it's like his favorite attack. It's the short, not super committed attack, but it worked this time because he chose a new target. Not necessarily new. I mean, he did try to go for the back a few times, but this time he got the light on. No, that's parry post for Macchi. That's parry post for Macchi. He's gonna give it in the video. At least I think so. I see what Foconi did. Foconi's trying to take the parry and preem, but for me, Macchi, just with the strong of his blade, kind of dominated the blade at that point and stopped that blade coming in and then hit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he gave it to Macchi. It was a good try from Foconi, but it wasn't ultimately the right way. I think he's got to trick Macchi. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. He's got to trick Macchi a little bit more. He's got to do a couple more intentions. Like, see, he's just pushing, and then he's gonna finish. But I think if he like finishes now, short, and then goes back, and then kind of works from there a bit more, that will work. But he's, you know, it's kind of predictable. He's pushing, and then he's sort of just trying to finish in one go. And so Macchi just let him get in close, and then he did like a quick beat attack parry repost. It was a parry repost because he didn't have right of way in the moment, but he did it as a beat. So going forward with it, just a quick blade contact and then touching. Here we go. See, yeah, Foconi, you're just gonna do the same thing. He's gonna try the same thing. Okay, nice, good try. Ooh, that was good. That was good. That was a. He got this touch earlier, so this is where Macchi's trying to get the counter time, and then Foconi gives him the little counter attack, and then Macchi does the parry as a part of his counter time, and then Foconi does the counter parry of the counter time. Super good. Okay, this is a little more dynamic from Foconi, but Macchi got him with that stop hit. He's taller. He's taller than Foconi. Nice. That was right out, you know, just kind of coming off the middle. Macchi read that Foconi wasn't really all that ready, and he thought he could slip in just a long lunge, which was pretty close. I mean, he got off target, but it's pretty close. Yeah, and just waiting for that counter time. Ooh, nice. I mean, when you're waiting for the counter time and the guy goes straight, it's a good move. Well done, Macchi. Now again, he's going to go straight or counter time, or compound like that. It's a bit of a mix. I felt that was a counter time. Basically, it was a counter time. It was a very quick little counter time. But then with a compound repost, and see, he stands up and gets in really close with the repost, and because he's trying to get a huge angle onto the back, and it's worked. It's worked at least twice. Those slow lunges from Foconi are so funny because, I mean, they work. That's the thing, is Foconi's counter parry repost is just so solid, and the lunge is really not bad. Like, he gets touches on that first intention as well. But you just see how ready he is to go back out once he's done it. Nice. Nice. There you put that counter time again. He's always just feeding. He's feeding these little attacks, little counter attacks. Macchi's getting the parry, and then Foconi's getting that counter repost. It's very hard to deal with. It's nice, Foconi. Very good parry repost in the close distance. I think they should give it to Foconi. For me, this is Foconi's. I mean, he got it. Macchi's rushing him. He's standing up tall over him. It's kind of a foolproof plan to do a small attack and then counter parry or remise, you know. But it's difficult to pull off. So just like how Macchi has also a foolproof plan with his counter time, They all have foolproof plans, so to speak. You know, where you're catching your opponent between two impossible decisions. So it's really just about who's pulling them off better and who is choosing the right variation in the right moment. Again, pressure from Foconi, as it's been the whole bout, and again Macchi looking to get the counter time. You know, he's putting pressure in different in all kinds of different moments. It's sometimes from the attack, sometimes from the defense. Again, and he's always taking it in 4 as well. And great. No. It's parry post for Foconi. Sorry, Mr. Macchi. It's parry post for Foconi. In my humble opinion. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't see the replay, you know, but Foconi just slow and steady wins the race. You know, he's really very, very disciplined in doing his plan. It's very smart. It's a very good job. So he proved me wrong. You know, I was telling him to switch it up, do what he's doing now. That's what I was trying to get him to do before, but there we go. Oh, but his plan has actually been the one that's been getting him back up slow and steady. But he's been very conservative with his attacks, and that's the key. He's got to be very conservative. He cannot go deep in. He cannot do risky action. He has to go like that, very small, and then counter parry. Very small. Oh my god. Well done. Holy cow. Oh, good job, Foconi. You see, every time he does the counter parry, the solution to the counter parry is going to be to go compound. So what does Macchi do? He takes the parry and then he does a compound repost. And in that moment, Foconi does his counterattack in that moment, and it's you know, it's a remise. It's a remise, but it looks like a counterattack. It's the same thing. It's a remise. Yeah, it's perfect. Beautiful. Congratulations, Foconi. Great bout, Macchi. Beautiful.